Good evening and welcome to the Youth World Championships here in Innsbruck. With over 1,100 athletes registered to compete here, this is officially the biggest competition in climbing history, and it's taking place at the amazing new Kletterzentrum, which we managed to check out earlier.
I'm Rainer Scherer. I'm the manager of this climbing gym. I was a national trainer for 25 years for the Austrian national team, and since 2 years I'm only busy with building up this new gym. We made the Tivoli gym. It's the old gym in Innsbruck in about 21. We opened it, and after 5 years we realized that it's much too small. So I was fighting for this new gym since 2005. And it took me a lot of time to convince the politicals, to convince the government that the climbing here is famous and we need more space. And it took me a long time, changing in the political situations and stuff like that. But at the end, everybody was convinced that here in Innsbruck we needed something. And then at the end, I think it was 3 years ago, that was the starting point for this project. It took us 1.5 years to build and about 2.5 years to plan it. And now it's one of the biggest gym. It's 6,000 square meters. It's 3,000 square meters indoor lead climbing, 1,500 square meters outdoor lead climbing, and 1,200 square meters of bouldering. And the funny thing in this gym is that it's two things together. It's a commercial climbing center and it's the national training center for the Austrian team. Now there's much more routes for training. There's speed, there's all the disciplines combined that we need in Olympic for the Olympic format. We just need the athletes and the training and the mind to train. We don't need much more facility now. But I think for the future, yes, other citizens and other countries, they will come to have a look, and then maybe they make the same thing, because what is clear is that if you have a big gym, it's working really good. If you have a lot of small things, it's much more, concurrence between the gyms. And here the situation is clear that everybody wants to climb here, so you don't need a big gym near Innsbruck.
I'm Jörg Verhoeven, and I've lived in Innsbruck for about 12, 13 years now. The old facility had very little, technical stuff to work on. There was not really a slab. You couldn't do any mantles or circus problems. Now we have plenty of space. The Austrian Federation is a part of the facility, so they can work with their trainers as well to put up specific competition style boulders and routes, which of course helps a lot. Obviously the facility is large enough so that it can fit like sportsmen, training sportsmen, and as well like a normal guest to a climbing gym. It's quite good that it goes together now. In the old gym, it was very hard to combine the two, since for the normal type of climber, you're not going to need any 9As in the gym. But of course, if you're training for a World Cup, you're going to need a couple of those.
And as you might be able to see behind me, unfortunately the Kletterzentrum not bathed in sunshine right now. We've had heavy rain over the past 24 hours here in Innsbruck. I'm pleased to say it was not accompanied by a wind, so the bouldering wall has stayed relatively dry. You can see it there. The mat's got some moisture on them earlier. And before we bring you this evening's female Youth A Boulder, here is your starting list. Out first will be Sandra Lettner. She'll be followed by Louisa Emma Lever, Brooke Rabatou, Hannah Moole, Laura Rigora and Oshima Shirashi will be out last. And in the men's competition, Mizuki Tajima, he'll be first out. Pietro Biagini will be out after him. Keita Dohi, Nikolai Uznik, Petr Ivanov and Philip Shank making up the men's final. As in the World Cup, 6 men, 6 women, 4 boulders each. And there you can see them. I was out on the mats little more than an hour ago, talking through the routes with some of the route setting team. They've had to set, believe it or not, 120 boulders for this Innsbruck event. We've got over 1,100 climbers registered. The greatest number of entrants in any climbing competition ever. As I say, 120 boulders required to separate them. Next weekend, of course, starting a week tomorrow on the Saturday, we will have the new Olympic format trialled out. But in the meantime, it's just good old traditional World Cup style rules. There is our wall. Unfortunately, it's not a clean left to right, so the climbers won't start on the left and work their way rightwards. The climbers are all over the wall. And here's Mizuki Tajima. He's on the right. On the left, Sandra Lettner of Austria. Crowd beginning to build here in Innsbruck. As I mentioned, it's been very damp, pretty horrible weather basically, but it doesn't deter them here. It's a real climbers' city. There's probably not many cities of this size where it'd be worth building a wall of this size, but pretty much everyone you speak to in Innsbruck's a climber, and we've been told that the wall's been a huge success and it's been busy from the start. I've just seen there on the left, walking past the timer, Killian Fishub, who's a member of the route setting team here. Let's see what Mizuki can do with number 1. Interesting boulder, men's one. We didn't see the lower section. There's some interesting features, and we're not going to see it on this attempt either, because that is a top. Perfect start to this evening's final. I was about to say that we'll see it later on. There's a sneaky toe hook on men's 1, and then quite a tricky move up to the bonus. But Mizuki, no problems at all, flashes the boulder, heads back inside. So Sandra Lettner. Women's 1, again, interesting boulder. We'd expect quite a few tops on men's 1, chatting to the route setters, but women's 1, we'd expect tops, but perhaps not flashes. One of those moves that was described to me as easy when you know how. Once you've got the coordination, once you've got the movement down, relatively straightforward move, it's just finding it. So you start out, that first hold there is jug. And you are heading for another jug. You can see the bonus hold there on the left of the screen, but jug faces the wrong way to how you'd want it to face. It faces over to the left. So the good bit is on the right. So you have to simultaneously grab it and then transfer your body to the left in a controlled manner so you don't just fire past it. Really tricky first move. As I say, the resetters say once you've got the movement, it's relatively straightforward, but of course climbers only have 4 minutes to figure it out. So far for Sandra. If you are just tuning in, this is the Youth A Boulder Final here in the Youth World Championships here in Innsbruck. Mizuki Tajima, he's already headed back in. Flash for him on men's 1. Sandra lining it up. Another attempt. She's going to try it statically. It actually looks like a slab, this section of wall. We just watch. Not entirely sure it can be done like that. Possibly if you have a big enough span. Certainly easier if you try and run at it though, which I think she's going to do again. And as I say, that section of wall, it looks like a slab. It's the panel itself, the grey panel, is actually plumb vertical, but the volumes are so big that it does make it almost a slab, but not quite. But the panel itself is vertical. It's only the volumes that make it just off vertical. So, Sandra using up a lot of attempts here. 39 seconds to go, you can see the time behind her. On the top right of your screen. Venue MC tries to get the crowd going, she's close, Sandra. 16-year-old from Strasvalken, just to the northeast of Salzburg. She's got 20 seconds on this one. And as I say, lots of attempts being used. And she will use no more. She heads in. 10 seconds remaining. Out next, Luisa Emeleva and Pietro Bagnini. Luisa, 17-year-old from Kinski, small town in the north of Russia. Pietro Bagnini, also 17, he hails from Genova on the Italian coast. If you've ever caught the ferry to Sardinia or Corsica, you will have visited Genova. Now we have a look at the lower section of men's 1. So we see him chalking up. So that starting hold that he has is now his left hand on. The easiest way to do this move is to get a toe hook under that. There we go, now he figures it out, and the best way, there we see it, go slowly to the bonus. Is this about to be another flash? We shall see. Certainly off to a good start, and the crowd right behind him, and it is. So the route setters were saying they expected lots of tops and a number of flashes on men's one, so it's proving so far. Meanwhile, women's one, progress being made. Louisa Emeleva, she's dialed the run across. There's a small side pull on the left there, you can see it just out of the shot. And it's not so much a jump, it's just a slightly dynamic lunge, I would describe it as to this top hold. She's taking her time. Attempts could be crucial. Be interesting to see how many tops are required to win here this evening. The route setters would like to see someone claim 4 tops, but I think particularly in the women's, 3 might do it. We shall see. But attempts likely to be crucial. She's somehow just about stuck that, and she's stuck the top hold. So cracking start to the final for her. Very quick start to the men's final. 2 flashes from the first 2 climbers. So out comes Brooke Rabatou in the women's competition. We've seen her in plenty of Senior World Cups recently, and Keita Dohi, there he is, of Japan. He's out in the men's. So we've barely had a chance to see men's one. As I mentioned earlier, that start hold, the upper one, where he starts with his hands, the key is to get a toe hook there. Makes it slightly easier, just keeps the hips in close to the wall. Enables you to just creep slowly up to the bonus. You can see the bonus hold there. So already men's competition, looks like you need a flash early on, and he reads it perfectly. It's a really good undercling, that first hold, and he is absolutely cruising this men's boulder. Wonder he was, and left foot peeled off, so the first person not to flash it. It's confirmed Louisa Emeleva. That was also a flash on women's one, which Brooke Rabatou is now attempting. So Keita, he's back on. No problems up to the bonus. Cruise those moves. I would imagine certainly needs a top. A flash would have been very nice, but certainly needs a top, you would imagine, if he's going to feature in the podium positions here. This Youth A Boulder Final in Innsbruck. Now he lines the move up. And now he sticks it just about. There was a bit of a ooh from the crowd as he went for it. Just about makes it work, heads back in. 2:40 left on the clock. Brooke Rabatou, meanwhile, making excellent progress, women's one. It's not really the easiest way to do that move. That's the easiest way. Get the right foot next to the right hand, go with the left, sticks it no problem. So Brooke claims the top as well. Not a flash like we saw from Louisa, but a top all the same. So now out on the stage, Hannah Muhl of Germany. Nikolai Uznik of Austria hails from St. Johann. Very close to Kitzbühel and Fieberbrunn. Close to the Kaisergebirge mountain range. Great part of Austria if you ever get the chance to go. So, Hannah lining up the move to the left on women's one, gets it nicely. First time left hand, so then the right foot joins the right hand. She's relatively tall for this age group, so the hold won't look as far away for her as it may for some of the climbers. She just needs to commit though. It doesn't quite make it stick. It's a good hold she's going for, not a great one. Nikolai lining up that top hold. Makes it stick, left hand, right hand, top for him. Already had a couple of fourths and a second place in the European Youth Cups this season. Now we're into a World Youth Championship final. Let's see if we can have another look at that. So we can see here, he goes with the left hand first. I almost went too far, banged the thumb into the top hold. So, Hannah, she's back up. As I say, the right foot matches where the right hand was, and then it's the right hand you go with first. The left just stays on that side pull. She's just got to commit, and that time she looked completely solid. Gets it done. So Sandra Lettner already, even at this early stage, no top on women's one, could spell trouble later on. Let's have a quick recap there. So it was a flash from Louisa Emma Laver. Hannah Moole got it third go, flashed the bonus, and Brooke Rabasu also got it third go. Just wait for those scores to update. Coming through now, there we see top from everyone. It was only Kater who didn't flash. I think the key to get the boulder done, flash would be nice, as I say, but get it done. Peter Ivanov just see him drying his feet off. As I say, the mats have stayed relatively unscathed here in Innsbruck. It's actually not raining right now, but it has rained an awful lot. Still quite damp, still quite humid, but very, very cold. Conditions not bad on balance for bouldering, although worth remembering the route setters did most of the setting in 30-degree heat. How times change. So Peter's lining it up, no problem. Men's one. So we can focus now. Laura Agora, she will be familiar to our regular World Cup viewers. 16-year-old from Rome, 6th in the European Championship lead earlier on this year. Also 6th in Vila. Had an amazing start to the lead season. 23rd in Chamonix and 11th in Arco. So that was her last final was Vila. Here she is, Youth World Championships in Innsbruck, lining it up for a top here. Just over 2.5 minutes left, and she sticks it right hand followed by the left. So good start from Laura. This first round here in Innsbruck flying by. And then make her way out across the stage. Ashima Shirashi. We saw her in her first Senior World Cup in Arco just over a week ago. Here she is to defend her bouldering titles in the youth competition. She did the double in Arco 2015, won the lead and boulder, and she repeated that in Guangzhou in 2016. Philip Shank there of Italy, out in the men's. He was 5th in the bouldering in Guangzhou 10 months ago in the 2016 Youth World Championships. Guaranteed at least top 6 already here in Innsbruck. Both climbers on the mats right now. Interestingly enough, I was chatting to some of the route setters earlier, and they're saying that one of the big differences between setting for youth events and Senior World Cups is that the climbers in the youth competitions often just rush onto the boulders, and when they fail on an attempt, they then rush and have another attempt to try the same method, and can often just basically run back and forth onto the wall and off again without thinking quite as much. Good to see both climbers staying on the mats, thinking through the early moves, and it looks like it's going to pay off with Philip Shank. Just about sticks it 3 fingers. It's a good hold, that top hold. And it's a top as well for Ashima, so less than 15 minutes gone here in Innsbruck. We're already bouldering. Wasting no time. And there we see it, Sandra Lettner down at the bottom, no top for her. That may come back to haunt her even at this early stage. It was a flash from Louisa Emma Laver. She takes an early lead. Over in the men's competition, almost a clean sweep of flashes. Kater Dohi, the only climber not to get it first go. Louisa already out onto boulder 2. Now women's 2, this is an interesting boulder. Physical, complicated, you name it. And that is the correct start method from Sandy. You can actually start with your feet where she started with her hands, and your feet where she started with her hands where she started with her feet, if you see what I mean, the other way round. This method considered to be slightly easier from the route setters. Men's competition meanwhile, to jump for that yellow hold, and it's actually blind. When you launch you can't see it. Obviously you know it's there from scouting the boulder, but you can't see it at the moment of launch. You have to kind of jump away from the boulder, try to come back in. Obviously much easier said than done. Sandra, I said it was a physical boulder and it's complicated. Still on the starting holes, it's such a long boulder. A lot of body tension required. It's a big move to the bonus. Tough one. And that is the top. So interesting enough, in the men's competition, we are yet to have a climber not claim a top on a boulder. Mizuki heads back in. He'll gain some extra rest. I mean, normally in the finals, it's not so critical because you naturally have more rest than you would in a 5-minute on, 5-minute off semi-final. But this final is going by so fast that extra rest could come in handy if it continues like this. Sandra finds herself alone on the mats on women's 2. It was a tight women's semi-final. Sandra got in 6th place. She flashed 1 boulder, got 3 bonuses. Really tough semi-final. Could do with the top here after not topping number 1. She's just trying to figure out these really physical moves. They take a lot out of you, these attempts. Quite the all-rounder actually, Sandra. Won the European Youth Cup in lead in Mittendorf back in August. And the Female Youth A European Bouldering in Graz in April. She can do it all. Speed climber as well. Lead and boulder definitely the 2 most successful disciplines at this stage. She's staring at that women's 2. Just trying to figure out if she's missed anything. Again she tries, she's got just under a minute left. So the best way actually to do this boulder is not to turn at that stage, it's to go again with the feet first to the next volume. This is a harder way to do it, and you can see how hard she's having to work. Seems to be working though. She gets that foot jam in. It's a hard move up to the bonus. Almost gets it, she landed on the tiny screw-on hold. Couldn't quite make it work. She's got less than half a minute to go. So we can see it again, she got the foot in. Went with the right hand. You can see her aiming for the bolt on hole. She just about found it. Louisa Emma Lever is out. Pietro Biagini is out as well. He's just off to the right. The men on the far right in this Innsbruck wall. Just to let you know, unfortunately, it has started raining again. It's very gentle, only 1 or 2 umbrellas appearing. But the rain has started again. So this is the blind jump on men's 1. You're going up for that yellow hold. I'm told it's actually slightly easier if you just go with 1 hand. Body position is just slightly preferable if you go with the left hand alone and just let the right hand hang. Louisa meanwhile. So I mentioned it earlier, the easiest method is to then bump the whole body forward again in that feet high up position. I'll explain more in just a second. Let's keep an eye. Pietra. Pietro back on the mats, he's cleaning. Louisa Emma-Laver. That's the method. So you start with the feet just above the hands and you keep them there for the next move. That's the way to do it. There's still an awful lot of moves to go though. Like at a World Cup, of course, you can get in touch on Twitter. New hashtag for this event. Pay attention. Hashtag IFSC YWCH Youth World Championship. IFSC YWCH. Give us a shout on Twitter. Tell us your thoughts. Final flying by here. This is Youth A Boulder. 3 age groups, of course, in the Youth World Championships. Youth B, Youth A and Junior. This Youth A. So Pietro pulls on again, he nails the jump. He moves up with the right hand. There it is. Is there a top approaching? Perhaps went too fast. Just need a slightly slower method. Slow is definitely better at the top of this boulder. Stay in control. Louisa Emma-Laver. Again, just trying to size up this women's 1-2. It is such a physical boulder. By the way, if her name sounds familiar to regular World Cup viewers, she did make a semi-final. She was 26th in Chamonix in the league climbing. So if you normally watch our World Cup coverage, your first Youth World Championship viewing, and you're wondering where you've heard the name, that's where it is. And again, Pietro looks like he's rushing there. He's got plenty of time. This is what I said about the route setters find that the youth climbers often don't spend quite as long thinking about the moves. They just jump back, straight back on. That's exactly what he's done. He's got the left hand. Now he's got the right hand. Just needs to go nice and slow. Oh, no, he doesn't. Maybe he can dyno after all. That's a top for him. So he flashed the first boulder. We'll confirm the number of attempts in just a second. Both climbers heading back in. That was his 6th attempt. Pietro, Louisa Emma-Laver. Louisa Emma-Laver heads back in without a top. We can have another look at it. So Brooke Robertson's out, as is Keita Dohe. Just not quite got that jump on men's one. Plenty of time left. Not sure where our clock has gone. We'll get it back for you in just a second. So Brooke, women's 2. Again, trying to turn as soon as possible. We saw Louisa Emma-Laver get the correct method, go again with the feet high. Can be done this way, it's just harder. Could make it 6 so far. Ditto Keita. Keep an eye on Keita right inside of your screen. Went from miles away. Brooke slaps. Lands it. This is by far the best attempt we've seen on this boulder. Brooks has just got just over 2.5 minutes left and went up with the right. That's a superb effort from Brooke though. Already got the bonus. First climber to claim a bonus on that women's 2. As I said earlier, it's a real body tension boulder. You spend a long time on it. So Keita, will he again ignore this huge volume for the right hand? Looks like he's trying to find a way not to use it perhaps. Now he uses it. Possibly kicking himself for not using it earlier. Lines it up. There we go, nice and slow to the top hold. Ended up being a pretty easy top for him. Perhaps could have used a fewer attempts, but top in the bag. Head back. So Brooke is back on, women's 2, there she is. And again, she's tried to turn early. Key is to keep the feet on. She just needs perhaps to spend a bit of time on the mat, so she's got plenty of time. I think that's exactly what she's doing. Results should be coming across the top of your screen any second. Brooke Rabbitou, Arco 2015, the Youth World Championship. She was 16th in the speed, 5th in the boulder, 4th in the lead, and then last year in Guangzhou, 17th in the speed, 3rd in the boulder, and 2nd in the lead behind Ishima Shirashi in both boulder and lead. Again, turns early on. You can see how hard she's having to work, perhaps wondering how she reached that original high point. Get straight back on, wasted no time. Almost made the senior semi-finals in Vale earlier this year, 9th place there. Not making it work, doesn't look too impressed with that one. 20 seconds left, chooses not to use it, heads backstage. So Nikolai, he is back out. There is Nikolai Uznik. Hannah Moore, 16-year-old from Frechen, just to the west of Cologne. She's back out onto the mats. Climbers have had an observation period on these boulders. Just before we came on air, they were observing. So it's not the first time they've seen them. It's the first time they've attempted them. So Hannah straight on. Nikolai meanwhile, take you a bit longer to size it up, keep you up to date. So again, that's the method. Go again with the feet. Most of the moves on this boulder are not super hard on their own, provided you can keep your feet on. The tricky bit is keeping those feet on and the cumulative effect of the moves. Nikolai lines up the jump, just coming too far off the wall. Yeah, really funny move that. It's hard to believe looking at it from here that you can't see the keyhole, but I can assure you, I've been on the mats, you definitely can't. So Hannah, will she try the same method again? I think she will. It's quite the contrast between women's 1 and women's 2. It's a really varied set. No, she's going to try and turn earlier this time, Hannah. So that's the method that seems to be most popular at this stage. As I say, I'm assured it's not the most effective, but it's working fine so far. Hannah aiming for the bonus. You could see where she was going, and you could see what it's taken out of her. Nikolai just about makes that right hand stick. Just needs to stay calm here. Move nice and slow and in control. Just like that. Nicely done. Let's have another look at Nikolai. Goes up to the yellow. And more. Germany again pulls back on. This women's 2 proving extremely difficult. I said before the live stream, my prediction was that 3 tops would win this competition for you in the women's. Still fairly confident on that. This women's 2 causing all sorts of problems. It is so physical, it's so long, it's so complicated, and it's full body climbing. You're working so hard through your core, the midsection, to keep the feet on. the left hand. Now she's lining up the move to the bonus. She gets that nice foot jam in. It looks a long way to that bonus hold. You can see the foot's just coming out at the key moment. Have time for another go though. Experienced climber. Been doing German youth competitions since 2013, something of a veteran. Here she is. Youth A World Championship final here in Innsbruck, and she doesn't like that. Thought about it, perhaps thought about another attempt. Heads back in. So Laura Rigora will be next out. There she is, followed by Petr Ivanov. Bulgarian climber from Sofia, there he is. Laura Rigora, that gives you some idea of the temperature here. The climbers opted to come out, or Laura certainly opting to come out in a hoodie. And take it off just before climbing, and she pulls straight on. And again, it looks like she's going to try and turn early on. No, she's not. She'll lead with the feet. Just trying to decide between the methods, decide which feels easier. Petr, meanwhile, no problems for him until that right hand landed, and he just didn't quite catch the sweet spot. You can see the fight of Laura here. European Youth Cup winner in both lead and bouldering. She can do it all. 6th in Vilar earlier this season in the first Lead World Cup of 2017. And she's got the method figured out on this women's 2. Feet first. Now you begin to try to turn. Try and line it up. Easy boulder to make mistakes on this. Quite shift in position. The feet are off. Suddenly you're in trouble, but Laura really nice and controlled. Huge amount of body tension required to move your feet like that, and you can see how much energy this is taking out of it. And she's close on that. So Petr, again it's the move up with the right hand. And again it looked to me as if he didn't quite have the right body position, didn't quite find the sweet spot of the hold. Let's have another look at his jump. Yeah, landed with the left hand and the right. As I say, possibly easier to do it one-handed. Most of the climbers opting to try it with both hands, so keep an eye on top of your screen. Scores coming across as they stand. So no top yet on women's 2. Men's 2, excuse me. Had 4 tops. In fact, in the men's competition, we are yet to have a climber not succeed on a boulder. Might not be first attempt. There's no climber that hasn't topped both boulders yet. Petr needs to get this one. You can see how much that was taking out of him. Now this needs to be nice and controlled. Perfectly done. Claims top, heads back in. So all 5 climbers in the men's competition who've attempted both of the first 2 boulders have topped both of them. Tight in the men's competition, I think it would be fair to say. We already have separation in the results, attempts becoming crucial. If you are just tuning in to bouldering for the first time, of course the key measurement to separate the climbers is how many of the boulders they topped, and if they're still tight on that, it comes down to attempts to claim those tops. So, Laura Rigora, she's back on. We have seen no tops of this women's 2. It is extremely difficult and extremely physical boulder. It's complicated, it's physical. There's a lot of moves, it's easy to make mistakes. Laura just peeling off. The hoodie goes back on. Just needs to remember her scorecard. There she goes. Decides against another go. So, the last climbers out onto the second boulders, the final flying by here in Innsbruck. 34 minutes down and we're almost at the end of the second boulders. The venue MC did my job for me there. Nashima Shireshi, there she is. Philip Shank over to the right. Both boulders on the right-hand section of the wall here in Innsbruck. The climbers enter through a doorway right in the middle of the wall, just to the left of Ashima. And both these boulders on the right-hand side. And as I say, crowd growing. You're never quite sure what sort of crowd you're going to get, particularly when it's raining, but they've turned out in force. Ashima Shirashi, as I mentioned earlier, won the lead and boulder in Arco 2015 in the Youth World Championships, repeated it in Guangzhou in 2016. Can she make it a hat-trick of doubles? She'll need to win here tonight. Meanwhile, Philip Shank, no problem on that jump, sticks it pretty easily. Again, another name that might be familiar for watching regular World Cups. 22nd in Briançon earlier this year. He's off to a pretty good start on this men's too. Just trying to figure out how to do that top move. That's exactly how you do it. Nice and easy does it every time. Philip Shank, top for him. So it's a clean sweep. 2 tops each for all of the male climbers at this stage. As I mentioned, attempts already crucial. Ashima is the last climber to attempt women's 2. If she can top it, it will be the first top of the boulder. And I really thought she'd stuck that move. I saw her a week ago in Arco on the shores of Lake Garda. Hard to believe it was on the same planet, let alone a couple of 100 miles away. It was so hot that people would take umbrellas for shade. Somewhat different here in Innsbruck. It's cold, it's damp. Conditions on the wall not too bad, all things considered. This is a young lady that a lot of people have been very excited about watching, Ashima Shirashi. There's a lot of buzz around. It's quite extraordinary when you walk around the venues in Arco and Innsbruck. She's only 16, but she's a star already. Extraordinary climber. Youngest climber to ever climb an 8C plus sport route. She did that when she was 11, did 9A at 13. She climbed V15 8C boulder problem in 2050 when she was just 14 years old. She is a teenage sensation, and she's aiming for a hat-trick of doubles in Youth World Championships. These moves have looked utterly desperate before. She's now resting on, taking a chalk bag. Clever from Ashima. There's a lot of moves on this boulder. Now she lines up the bonus. She gets it with the left hand and the right. Just has a quick look at the clock. She's got plenty of time. And again, all these holds are okay, provided you have your feet on, provided you hold your body tension, but it's easy to make a mistake at this stage. Ashima, she's got that right heel hook. She just needs to lever up with the right hand. This does look promising. Ashima Shirashi, this is for a clear lead. No one else has got anywhere near this women's boulder 2, and Ashima Shirashi tops it. She waves to the crowd. She makes sure she gets the match. She's awarded the top by the judges, and she heads in, and she has taken control of this final here in Innsbruck. Well, I'd imagine she could guess from crowd reactions and timings. None of the other women had topped that boulder, and there you see it. She is clean in the lead. It's not coming down to attempts at this stage in the women. She has topped boulder 2. Nobody else could get close. Brooke Rabatu got the bonus. Meanwhile, in the men's competition, it's all about attempts. So Sandra Lettner is back out. Mizuki Tajima also out. First look at women's 3. Again, a change of pace. We've got a really varied set, both the men and the women. It's hard to keep the feet on. This move to the bonus is probably the crux, and that's exactly how you do it. You cross through with the right hand, comes over your head, finishes about over your left shoulder. Means men's 3 meanwhile. Now maybe the route setters think this is possibly the hardest boulder. Possibly. The start is hard to read. You don't really pull on any holds. until quite late in the boulder. It's all body position and just moving yourself around so that you can make use of your feet, positioning yourself correctly. And that was Sandra on women's 3, just popping off from the move past the bonus. We didn't see her move to the bonus, as I say, apparently that is the crux. So both climbers back on the mats. Just got about 2.5 minutes left. There we go, there's our clock. Mizuki trying to figure out men's 3. Very awkward start. It's hard to read. There's lots of different ways of doing it. Just finding a way that works for your body shape, your height, your preferences. It's a method that the route setters consider to be the easiest. Might not be the easiest for everyone. So Sandra has another go. Women's 3. She's back on, working her way up, crosses through to the bonus. So now match the bonus. And leads with the left hand. You need to keep squeezing with the feet here, and she is close to the top. She has the top in front of a home crowd. Sandra letting the top, women's 3. Confirm the attempts in just a second. Meanwhile, Mizuki. Again, you can see that it's not really pulling on holds in the traditional sense, just finding the way. He's got a minute left. Very tight in the men's competition. He got both of the first 2 boulders, as did all the climbers, who required 4 attempts to get them. So again, he pulls on. As I said, the route setters think this could be the hardest boulder. It's a stemming boulder, it's about body position, finding the right method. And again, he tries that same method. Feet are peeled off in the last couple of attempts. 15 seconds and it's the same outcome. That left heel goes out, just pulls him clean off the holds. No top for him, so for the first time in this men's final in the Youth A here in Innsbruck in the Youth World Championships, we have a climber heading back in without a top in the men's competition. Luisa Emeleva and Pietro Piegnini out. Pietro actually currently down in 6th despite having 2 tops because he required 7 attempts to get them. It's the most of any of the climbers. Straight on with men's 3. Again, he's in that already quite familiar position, pushing against that roof, trying to find the method, trying out different body positions. So hard to figure these boulders out live. You've got the music going, you've got the crowd behind you, and you've got to try and pick up on the tiniest changes in your body position and the effect it's having. Luisa Emeleva, no joy yet on women's 3, she is close to the camera. So now both boulders on the left-hand side of the stage. Still raining gently here in Innsbruck. Still light though, as I mentioned earlier, hardly any umbrellas out. It's very light drizzle, not enough to affect conditions on the boulders, and thankfully no wind. The key to keeping this boulder wall dry here is the lack of wind. Pietro. He's back on, trying again. It's time consuming figuring out these different methods. And not unphysical until you get to that stage. They're quite tough moves, trickier than they look, certainly more physical than they look. Expect to see one, maybe two tops of this boulder, and that was close. Losing Maleva. This boulder has been topped. Sandra Lettner got it. Louisa, the second climber to attempt it. Looking solid at this stage, looking very solid. Nice top for her. Just composes herself at the top. Gives the judges what they require. She'll go back in. Pietro again finds himself back under the roof. As I mentioned, it's already looking familiar, this position. Just trying to find a way to creep that right hand up. Now he tries it. Absolutely at the limit, and as soon as the right hand got secure, the feet weren't. It's back down. Making slight progress every attempt though. Definitely worth a bit more of his time. He's got 45 seconds left. Let's see what he can do with them. Again, pushing under the roof, gets the left foot out. This is the stage where you just get a slight respite while you try and figure out what to do. Reaches up with the right hand. This looks more promising, and again lunges for that top hold. Takes quite an awkward fall, and with 15 seconds to go, calls it a day. Looks as if he winded himself slightly there. It wasn't the most comfortable looking fall. And a bit like we saw with Laura Agora, Brooke Rabatu with the hoodie on, just trying to protect herself from the cold. Keita Dohe looked absolutely up there in this men's final. Two tops for him. They required 6 attempts to get them. Excuse me. Pietro Biagini, 6th place. So Keita, regardless of what happens on this boulder, can still be in 5th place at least going into the last one. There's Brooke, bottom right. This boulder topped by both of the climbers to attempt it so far, Louisa Emeleva and Sandra Lettner. Brooke topped the first boulder on her 3rd go. Keita Dohe, meanwhile, winner of the Asian Youth Championships in Singapore in July. Tries a slightly different method. Instead of keeping himself pressed under that roof, he's just getting himself a bit further out to the right. It certainly looks an easier way of doing it. This is a hard move though. You see it there, he's just got to turn that left hand into an undercut. So Brooks back on, 2:30 left on the clock. More than half their time remaining. Of course, the climbers get 4 flat minutes nowadays, no more 4+. It's 4 flat minutes. When your time's up, your time's up. But they've got more than half of it left. Keita, I think, found a pretty good method on men's 3. Keita trying to defend the title he won in Guangzhou 10 months ago. Youth A Boulder champion back in China in November. And he doesn't like the outright method this time, trying to go more direct. This time he's over to the left, Will he find more success? He will. Top from Keita. Men's 3 is topped. Confirm the attempts in just a second, but Keita Dohi will become the first climber in this men's competition with 3 tops. It was his second attempt. Minute left for Brooke. Let's have another look at Brooke's earlier attempt. Cross through the right hand. And it was just that left foot that she dabbed against the wall and it actually pushed her off. 45 seconds to go for her to find a top. That's how you do it. Needs a top to stay in the reckoning here, Brooke. Lining it up, she'll lead with the left hand. She'll cross through the right. Brooke Rabatou, top women's 3. So here we go on the results. Before we see the 4th climbers out, Keita Dohi takes a clean lead. That's 3 tops for him. Required 8 attempts to get there, but he won't mind a bit. 3 tops. Philip Shank and Mizuki Tajima making up the rest of the top 3. Louisa Emma Lame leading the way in the women's competition. It's all America on the rest of the podium. Ashima Shirashi and Brooke Rabatou. Admiral of Germany. She's out. Right hand side. Attempting women's 3 and Nikolai Uznik. Austrian climber, 17 years old, from St. Johann. As I mentioned, already had 2 fourths and a second in the European Youth Cups 2017. So Hannah wasted no time. On to women's 3. She was 11th in the bouldering and the lead in Guangzhou in 2016 Youth World Championships. Already done better than that in the bouldering. Lead to come next week. Just trying to figure out a method that doesn't involve that cross through to the bonus. Let's have another look at Hannah there. Didn't like the look of the cross through, went to slap the outside of that black volume, and that method wasn't working either. So both of these 3rd boulders topped the women's and the men's competition. I'm just wondering if he's missed something. He's got plenty of time. It's an awkward boulder this. It takes some figuring out. Hannah back on meanwhile, women's 3. Topped the first boulder on her 3rd attempt. No joy in the 2nd, and as yet, no joy in the 3rd. Seems to have the method in that right this time though, that cross through. You can see how hard Nikolai is having to fight. He's not pressing himself under that wall like we saw with Mizuki Tajima, and it's just taking too much out of him. So 1 minute 30 left on this rotation for these 2 climbers. Both climbers still on the stage, 1 minute 20 left. Pulls back on for another go on women's 3. She didn't initially like that cross through to the bonus, but I think she's decided that that's the way it's got to be done. But I think fatigue already kicking in. They had a hard semi-final, of women. Very, very tough round. They had a tough qualifying round as well. 2 tops for Hannah in the semi-final, and in the qualification it was just 1 top. They've been 2 hard rounds, beginning to take their toll perhaps. Meanwhile, Nikolai Uznik. 35 seconds to go for Hannah Moon. It's just that midsection of the boulder. You've got to squeeze with the feet. You can't just place the feet, you've got to squeeze with them, and it is tiring. She'll go again though, 15 seconds left for her. And again, she's just trying to find a way to bounce through that crossover move rather than go for it fully. So time up on that rotation, no top in that round. Laura Agora once again out in the hoodie. It's cold here in Innsbruck. You can see the judges there, down jackets and beanies all round. Oh, strip you off, she means business. Key to this women's three is keep squeezing, trust the feet while squeezing them hard. Will she just go straight through to the bonus? That's the way to do it. It's hard, but it's the best way of doing it. And at some stage you just have to commit, and she did and almost had it. I don't think she'll have too much trouble with that move on the next attempt. We shall see. In the meantime, Petr Ivanov. These are the 5th climbers out already onto the 3rd boulders. He finds himself pressed under there. We saw Nikolai Uznik trying to undercling those holes. It looks super physical and ultimately unsuccessful, as is that attempt. Interestingly enough, Petr Ivanov, he competed in the bouldering and the lead in Paris and the Senior World Championships in 2016, 91st in the boulder, 75th in the lead. 2 second place finishes and a 4th in the European Youth Cups already in 2017. Lara, meanwhile, World Cup finalist in the senior competitions, albeit in lead already this season. As I mentioned earlier, lead still to come. What a packed schedule we've got for you here in Innsbruck. Lead, speed, Olympic format, got it all. We don't finish until the end of next Sunday night. 9 days from now, we've got an action-packed 9 days here in Innsbruck. Stay with us. So, Lara back on. This cross-through move that initially I thought she was pretty close to. She suddenly doesn't seem to like the look of. Can she get it this time? She seems to be landing it right. The volume that her left hand's on, just pushing her out from the wall. '16-year-old from Sofia. You can see how hard he's having to work. His shoulders look like they're exploding with the effort. Pressed underneath there. Now he finds some respite. He's tall, he can reach through. Just trying to figure out how to go from where he is to that final hold. He gets it, somehow controls the swing. Petr Ivanov, top for him, superb effort. Gave that one everything he had, and he is rewarded with the top. He will head back in. See where that leaves him. Just waiting for the number of attempts to come through. Keita Dohi also has 3 tops. Petr Ivanov also has 3 tops now. As I say, we'll just wait to see how many attempts that required. Focus on Lara. This time she sticks the move with the right hand. Now she matches. Now it's a case of going up to that next hole. She goes to the right hand. Will she match and cross through? Yes, she will. It'll be left hand up. No, she goes with the right. She matches with the left. She goes to the right. And once again matches with the left. And this time it's for the top. Pretty happy with that result. She scurries back into the isolation area as quick as she can. So results coming up on the screen. Ashima Shirashi, you can see there, currently sitting in 2nd place. She can take the lead here. 3 tops really would put her clear, and with 3 tops, Keita Dohi leading the way. Just trying to figure out what's happened with Petr Ivanov's score. There it is, come through now. He got that on his second go. So it's 3 tops for Petr Ivanov. He's in first place. 6 attempts required to get them. Keita Dohi in second place. Also with 3 tops, 8 attempts required to get them. So Philip Shank and Ashima Shirashi now out on the stage. Philip Shank, another real all-rounder. He's been second in a youth World Cup already. 2 European Youth League Cups, and Ashima Shirashi, women's 3. She's barely been out on the stage a minute. She's claimed the top and she's back in. Philip Shank, meanwhile. Just to confirm that top, but Ashima Shirashi clean in the lead. She can be caught, but it's going to require something very, very special. Philip Shank, meanwhile, goes to the left hand, goes to the right hand, claims the top. So quite the finish, that third set of boulders in both the men's and women's competition. We're on to the final boulders already. An hour gone, and we're on to the last boulders. Let's have a quick recap of the results. You can see there, Ashima Shirashi, how does that look? 3 tops, 6 attempts, make up the rest of the podium. Louisa, Emma Lever and Brooke Rabatu. Meanwhile, in the men's competition, Philip Shank, Petr Ivanov and Keita Dohi leading the way with 3 tops. So, both boulders on the right-hand side, the women now on the right on the huge round yellow volumes. The men on the pink and white dual texture holes on the left-hand side of your screen. Mizuki Tajima in the men's competition. Sandra Lettner in the women's. Women's 4, really fun-looking boulder this. Perhaps more fun to watch and attempt though. That right foot, by the way, on the women's boulder is not as good as it initially looks. From our position, and certainly from when you're on the mats, it looks like it's a reasonable foothold, but it's actually at quite a nasty angle. Easy to fall off it. So Mizuki Tajima can't win here. He's taken too many attempts. Even if he tops this boulder, he's taken too many attempts. Needs real power at the top here on men's 4. It's relatively straightforward in terms of technicality, but real power required and a bit of a tricky finish. No problems though. Mizuki Tajima, top for him. That will move him into the podium positions. Almost certainly second place. Let's have another look at it. So it's a powerful top out. Not especially technical, we just need to be precise, and he got it absolutely spot on. So Sandra Lettner will focus on her. In the Youth B in 2015 in Arco, she was 12th in the bouldering in the lead, and then 5th in the bouldering in the lead last year in Guangzhou. She's back on to women's 4. So this is a slightly different method to how the route setters think it should be done. She's gone up with the left hand to the bonus. Generally thought to be much easier if you go with the right hand, and I think she's figured that out herself. Heel hook with the right, up with the right hand, and then you just got to roll onto that left hand. That's exactly how you do it, but the right hand just pops off. 1 minute 30 left for her. Got 1 top, that was on boulder 3. No joy in the first one. She's currently sitting in 6th place, but she can move up here. She could move up to 3rd, albeit provisional. So yeah, you can see those 2 very distinct volumes sticking out from the huge round yellow volume. Just to give you some idea, I mentioned earlier the route setting team. It's 8 route setters setting the boulders. Have set 120 boulders, and they've used somewhere in the vicinity of 1,000 holds. Absolutely extraordinary here at Innsbruck. 2 weeks of solid setting for them. Now their work beginning to be appreciated. I have to say, Sandra Lettner Looks as if she wouldn't mind an extra couple of footholds. It's a really tricky move up to the right. Looks like she's decided once and for all to get the bonus with the right hand. It is the best way to do it, in inverted commas, and there's a tiny bolt-on, screw-on hold just on the side of that big volume that she was aiming for. Chooses not to have another attempt though. So Sandra Lettner, she will finish this evening's final in 6th place. Louisa Emeleva, she can take the lead here. Depending on the number of tops, she could overtake Ashima. Pietro Biagini out on the men's. He's currently in 6th place. Can move up the rankings. Can't make the podium. Can move up the rankings. You can see the rain just beginning to fall here in Innsbruck again. It eased off slightly, it's back. I have to say it's forecast to be back for quite a few days yet. Not supposed to pick up until perhaps after the weekend, we shall see. Now then, this is a potential 180 that the route setters have set, and he's read it to perfection. It's a good hold he's going for, that bonus. That's exactly what the route setters wanted the climbers to do, and he read it to perfection. That's a photographer's view. Louisa in that position of just trying to push off the left hand and get something out of the right, and that's a nice way of doing it. It just pushes her outwards as she tries to reset and stabilise in that position. 2 minutes 40 left for her though, plenty of time. Let's have another look at that. So she went up with the right hand and then tried to swap it for the left, and it was that at that point that she came off, but as I say, plenty of time to go. And there you can see just how many people braving the rain here in Innsbruck at the Kletterzentrum. Quite amusing being in there today. It's a who's who of world climbing on the lead wall, queuing up for routes next to the likes of Jakob Schubert and Jan Hoyer. Kai Leitner was there today. Unbelievable facility. If you're ever in the region, you have to come and see this wall. It is something else. It's next level. Anyway, in the meantime, Louisa Emeleva making good progress. Ditro Pietro Biagini. They're both closing in on the top. Are we about to see a simultaneous top? Pietro nearly does his bit. Louisa does hers. Top on women's 4. Every bowl has been topped in the women's competition now. Just to confirm, that does move Louisa Emeleva into the lead here. She's got 3 tops, they required 5 attempts. Ashima Sureshi's got 3 tops and they required 6 attempts. So Ashima currently trailing on number of attempts, but Ashima is yet to attempt boulder 4. So meanwhile, men's 4, it's a running start. It's not a fast run, it's not a sprint, it's just a couple of steps to get into that first key position. Now you move over. This will be taking a lot out of the climbers at this stage of the competition. Got to cross through to the bonus. Pull the 360, controls it nicely. Pietro Biagini's lining it up. He's got the right foot. There's 20 seconds left of his Youth World Championship in the bouldering, and that's a pretty nice way to finish his boulder campaign. Top for him. That'll be 3 tops. Moves him up to 5th place. 3 tops required 10 attempts. That is the right hand side of the wall. Brooke Rabatou out. So Brooke, she's currently in 3rd place. Can't actually move up from there, but she can solidify 3rd place. Her 3rd place, her bronze medal, is under threat here. She's got 2 tops. They required her 8 attempts to get them. So even if she flashes this, she'll have too many attempts to move up the ranking. Keita Dohe, meanwhile, left on side of the wall. There he is. Will he try the 360 method? Trying to match. It's not an easy way of doing that move. Obviously much more static, but a very difficult way to do it. But anyway, he ends up in the correct position. It matters not. Brooke Rabatou, meanwhile, where her right hand is, there is a tiny bolt-on hold on that volume. It's minute, but it's just enough to get you up there. This boulder has been topped, of course. We saw Louisa Emeleva, the current leader in this women's final. She topped it. Can Brooke do likewise? Just under 3 minutes left on the clock. Top for Brooke Rabatou. That's the end of her bouldering here in Innsbruck 2017 Youth World Championships. Her work is done this evening, nothing else she can do. She just has to watch. As I mentioned, that doesn't move her up the order, but it does solidify her. 3 tops in 9 attempts. Keita won Youth A Bouldering in Guangzhou 2016, trying to retain his title here in Innsbruck 2017. Doesn't matter about the number of attempts. 4th top here would put him clean in the lead. He's currently down in 4th place, but a top, regardless of attempts, will put him in 1st for now. He needs this if he wants to retain his title. As I say, not even in the podium positions right now, but the top will get him there. It's looking very promising. Just needs the right foot in the bonus. And as I say, this last move, it's powerful and you can't rush it. You have to get the good bit of that hold. That's just a couple of centimetres short. It's got 1 minute 30 left on the clock. And there we go. So it's very sensibly. Chooses to have the holds brushed. I was about to say, it's no rush. He knows he can get to that stage. There's no point tiring himself out, trying to figure out those low moves. He's got them sorted. He knows how to do it. Just a case of sticking that top move. He needs to conserve his energy. Will he use every second he has? Or will he hedge his bet slightly? Try and give himself time for another attempt should this one fail low down. He sets off with a minute to go. And again, chooses not to try the 360 method. Such a powerful position to hold. He's sussed out these moves now. So he's been here before. Will the outcome be different? Has a quick look at the clock. Goes up with the right hand, goes up with the left. That is 4 tops. A clean sweep. And look what it means. The man who won in 2016 has done everything he can do to win in 2017, and the crowd enjoyed it. So Louisa Emeleva, there she is, currently leading the way. Shima Shirashi and Brooke Rabatou make up the rest of the podium in the Women's Youth A final here in Innsbruck. Keita Dohe, meanwhile, in the men's competition, he leads the way. 4 tops, it required 11 attempts to get them, though those attempts could come back to haunt him. We shall see. It's Hannah on the right. Women's 3, been topped twice, 3 times, excuse me. Topped twice. Excuse me. Brooke Rabatou and Louisa Emeleva both topped it. Hannah next to try her luck. Nikolai Uznik. Oh, so powerful. He missed the cross-through move, somehow made it work. Unbelievable power to reach that bonus hold. And he's on his way. This could move him well up the order. Up to at least 4th. And it's just again having enough power to get that final move done. Let's have another look. So how's this for power? He's locked off on one hand on a terrible hold. Realises he hasn't got it. Drops back down. Basically does a one-arm pull-up. That's extraordinary power. I think it took a bit out of him. He's got 2.5 minutes left. Just brushing the holes. You can see his fatigue. His body language down on the mat just disappeared off to the left of our shot. Meanwhile, Hannah, she pulls back on. Hannah currently down in 5th place. Already a semi-finalist in the Senior World Cups, 12th in Meiringen earlier this year. Uznik hopefully will not have to do that again. This time he gets it first time. Doesn't need to wow the crowd with his power once again. So he goes up with the right hand. Now the left needs to join it. And he's got to get that right foot nice and high. And then find a way. Again, he's close. Currently in 6th place, Nikolai. Given the number of attempts he's used, this will almost certainly be enough for 5th place as things stand, if he can top it. If. Needs to be careful not to use too many attempts. If he uses too many, even a top might not be enough to move up the rankings. We shall see. Meanwhile, Hannah up to the bonus with the right hand, rocks onto that right foot. As I say, it looks like a good foothold. It's not that good when you see it close up, and that's, you can't see it, but in the palm of her hand is a tiny bolt-on hold on the outside of that volume that just makes it that bit easier to grip, and this suddenly looks promising from Hannah. Just trying to find a way to get herself locked in between those volumes. Meanwhile, Nikolai so close onto a top. 30 seconds left for him, and just keep an eye on him on the mats. He's still lying there, exhausted. Ditto Hannah. Both climbers have given that final everything they had, but it's not enough. And the 4th boulders. So things getting tense here in Innsbruck, as the crowd perhaps slightly beginning to thin out as the rain thickens out, sadly enough. You can see it there in the lights. There's Laura Gora rushing out. So Peter Ivanov can take the lead here if he tops it. It could come down to attempts. He's currently got 3 tops though. Laura Gora, she pulls on. She's currently in 4th place. Lots of attempts required. So she won't be able to move up from 4th place, but 3 tops would be a very nice way to end her competition. That's Laura Gora on the right, Petr Ivanov on the left. Just ignore those graphics. Laura with more than 3 minutes left. Top for her. Attempts ultimately counting against her though. So she'll finish with 3 tops. So she makes her way off. That was a flash from her, but as I said, attempts earlier on, particularly on boulder number 3, counting against her. So the women's podium already decided, but not the order, crucially. But Louisa Emeleva, Ashima Shirashi and Brooke Rabatu will be taking home the medals. Brooke knows she'll end up with 3rd. But Louisa and Ashima yet to decide the goal between them. Petr Ivanov, meanwhile, can still take the lead. He won't burn through enough attempts that he can't take the lead here. He's well ahead in attempts. Let's have another look at Laura's top. So she flashed the boulder, made it look pretty easy from what we saw of her. We weren't watching her the whole time. And we did pan back to it. This is what we saw. She had to fight, but never really looked in doubt. And there's a slightly sped up version so that we can see Petr finishing his attempt. That's a replay there. Let's get back to the live action. So Petr Ivanov. So he's got the cross through method. He's got a minute left. How aware he is of the scores, I'm not sure. They are on the big screen, but I haven't seen him look over. It's a bit of an awkward angle for the climbers to see. He may not be aware just how much is riding on this. Might be better if he doesn't realise. So again, he goes with the right hand, that tiny crimp. Goes through to the bonus. Just didn't seem to like that. A bit of a strange one, actually. Just seemed to drop off mid-attempt. Something he didn't like. Tries again, sets himself up. He's got less than 20 seconds to go. He's going to need to climb so quickly here. He's through with the right hand, gets the heel hook. Now he'll try and match. He doesn't like the 360 method and he's burned through his time. He's got the bonus. He's not going to have time for the top. Thanks the crowd and heads back in, so that is one less climber able to threaten Keita Dohi. Well, the route setters, the organisers, couldn't have scripted this one much better. Philip Shank, if he tops this boulder, almost regardless of attempts, he's so far ahead on attempts, he's flashed the first 3 boulders. If he tops this boulder, not quite with unlimited attempts, but 8 attempts or less, he is the winner here this evening. Ashima Shirashi, meanwhile, she can take as many attempts as she wants. As long as she gets to the top, she will win here in Innsbruck. So Ashima getting straight on with it. Straight onto the bonus. Ashima. This to be 3-time Youth World Champion in boulder. As I said, it doesn't matter about the number of attempts. Ashima Shirashi, teenage prodigy. She's lining up the top here. She could be lining up a hat-trick of wins. She goes to the right hand, calm as you like, goes with the left. That's why people are so excited to see this young woman climb. She retains the title that she won in Arco in 2015. She retains the title she won in Guangzhou 2016. And Philip Shank joins her on the top of the men's podium. So Ashima Shirashi and Philip Shank, the last climbers out. We barely had time to see Philip Shank. He topped the boulder. He's your winner here. It's just confirmed for you. That was a clean sweep, 4 flashes from Philip Shank. You cannot do better than that. He got every boulder and he got them all first time. He is the Youth World Champion in bouldering in Youth A. Just wait for the results to be confirmed. So Ashima Shirashi, once again, 3rd year running, Youth World Champion. Louisa Emeleva follows her. Brooke Rabatu collects Team USA's 2nd medal. She takes the bronze, and then it's Laura Groda, Hannah Mull, and Sandra Lettner in 6th place. Ashima Shirashi, as I said, that is why people are so excited to see her climb. In the men's competition, Philip Shank, that is a perfect score. 4 tops in 4 attempts, flashed every boulder, utterly dominant. Japan pick up 2 medals as USA did in the women's competition. Keita Dohi, Mizuki Tajima making up the rest of the men's top 3. Petr Ivanov, Pietro Biagini and Nikolai Uznik. The rest of your top 6. So Innsbruck 2017 off to a flying start. We've got plenty more action to come though. 8 days of it. We hope to see you starting tomorrow. In the meantime, we're going to be live streaming the podium, so stay tuned if you'd like to watch them. Thank you very much for watching.
Stop.